Now, let's roll out the carpet and bring on the Mountaineers. Pick on a spree.
To Kevin Jones. The slam dunk. Kevin Jones. Left wing for Gansey. 3 in the air. Swish.
Greg Jones, their outstanding guard, has to be the key. They'll blame me.
Daryl Brooks. Devin Evac. A weapon tenure. Kirby Brooks on the two-pointer.
Dallas Nichols wins the game.
Alexander. It's a dunk right in his face.
Send it in, Joe! Staten takes the ball to the left side, spins, shoots, layup, shot, good!
Got the Carter's no ball. Javon Carter is in Trey Young's head. Butler into the lane, into traffic. It goes again. West Virginia has won its first Big East championship. They're going wild here at the Coliseum.
So long, Big Blue. Hello, Golden Blue. The West Virginia Mountaineers are going to the Final Four. It is a great night to be a Mountaineer, wherever you may be.
What's going on, Mountaineer Nation? Welcome into a live stream here on the Country Roads webcast channel. May 5th edition, Sunday morning live stream here on the CRW Hoops side. I know that means probably won't have as many people tune in if we do it, as we usually do in the evening. There's usually a better turnout. But that being said, been wanting to get this Hoops transfer portal update out for a while. Got to go to work here in a bit, so I wasn't going to have time to pre-record it and edit it. So I figured, hey, let's go ahead and get it out as a live stream. That way, if any other Hoops news happens, we can report on that further. We can get this out of the way because haven't had a chance to talk about it. We've talked about the Hoops team building their coaching staff and building their roster throughout this offseason since Coach DeVries came in. Been trying to keep up with it here on the CRW. And West Virginia, we knew with the roster pieces that they had, a couple pieces that we knew that they were looking for was a point guard and a big man. And West Virginia went out and got both of those in this past week since the last time I've had a chance to do an update with you guys. And both of them pretty good additions, but especially the point guard addition. We're talking about the nation's #1 transfer portal point guard. So the Mountaineers have now added in this transfer portal class, which now ranks top 5 in the country, Tucker DeVries, who at the time of being in the portal was rated as the top player in the portal by most services, or at least top 3. And then now Javon Small, who's rated as, top 20 recruit in the entire country and transfer portal players, and also the #1 point guard at the time when he was in there as well. So Coach DeVries doing a good job building this roster as they're having to completely rebuild it. Only one player returning from last season, that player being Ofri Naveh. And since we've last met, I wanted to share his statement that he put out because I thought it was really good. Let me pull this up here from WVSportsNow.com. I've got a few articles I'm going to scroll through here, guys. But of course, if anyone isn't here live this morning, I know it's not that likely, but if you are, chime in with your thoughts, questions, comments, concerns on anything we talk about or anything you want to address. I'll try and touch on those here before the stream ends. Won't be here too long, but I want to touch on some of these news topics. One of those being Ofri Naveh choosing to remain at West Virginia for his sophomore year here. And, the only player that West Virginia will retain from last season's roster. You see this from WVSN, Ethan Bach, with this article. But here is Ofri Naveh's statement. He put this out on social media. I thought it was really cool. Dear Mountaineer Nation, I'm thrilled to announce my decision to remain a part of the West Virginia family and forego entering the transfer portal. After careful consideration, I found that my heart remains in Morgantown and I'm committed to continuing my journey as a Mountaineer. There are several reasons behind my choice to say, each of which holds significant importance to me. Love for the university in Morgantown. WVU is more than just a school to me. It's a home. The unparalleled support from the community, especially in such a tough time for me and my family back home, and the infectious spirit of Morgantown have truly captured my heart. I'm proud to represent this incredible institution both on and off the court. Coaching staff, I want to express my sincere gratitude to Coach DeVries and the staff for their belief in me. Their trust and confidence have motivated me to push myself beyond limits, and I'm eagerly anticipating the opportunity to collaborate with them on the court. Together, we will push for greatness and continue to uphold the proud legacy of Mountaineer basketball. I'd also like to thank our previous coaching staff for giving me this amazing opportunity last spring. Commitment to development. My decision to stay also reflects my dedication to personal growth and development. I've been fortunate to work closely with our exceptional strength and conditioning team, trainers, and support staff who have played a pivotal role in shaping my skills and athleticism. I'm excited to build upon this foundation and showcase the results of our hard work to our loyal fans. As I embark on this new chapter with renewed enthusiasm and determination, I'm reminded of the words that echo through the hills of West Virginia. Hail WV. Together, let us all continue to embody the Mountaineer spirit and pursue excellence in everything we do. Thank you for your unwavering support, and I cannot wait to make you proud on the court. Go Mountaineers. So pretty awesome, and I wanted to read that just because we see so often players announcing their intentions to enter the transfer portal, and when players stay, sometimes you'll get an I'm back or something, but you never really get anything like this. The reasons why, really laying it out for you in detail, and I thought it was really cool from Ofri that he put that out, and there's the statement if you want to go look at it yourself on his social media. But we do have him returning to the roster, and I wanted to highlight his return statement. But the Mountaineers, more importantly, adding some more transfers to the roster. We'll take a swig of my water and we'll talk about those, leading off with the one that everyone's probably the most excited about in Javon Small. All right, let me share this article again from WVSN and the great Ethan Bach. WVU picks up commitment from OSU transfer Javon Small. Like I said, this few days ago now. Been trying to get this up, haven't had a chance to. But Oklahoma State guard Javon Small committed to West Virginia. Announced it to John Rothstein, who put it out on social media. During his recruitment, listen to how highly sought after he was. Obviously, I mentioned him being the top point guard in the portal. He was kind of down to West Virginia and Ole Miss. It seemed like at the end there, he visited Miami and Ole Miss, and of course WVU, while having interest from notable schools like Kansas, Texas, Louisville, Michigan, and other high major teams. I think the connection with Nelson Hernandez helped West Virginia a lot. We know that he's on the staff now, fulfilling the previous role held by Jay Kuntz and helping bring in some of these transfers. West Virginia's assistants doing a great job helping Coach DeVries. We know the Chester Frazier connection helped bring in Hansberry and Harris. Now the Nelson Hernandez connection helping bring in Javon Small. Small spent this past season, at Oklahoma State, averaging 15 points, nearly 5 rebounds and 4 assists, 6'3" guard. He shot 44% and 37% from three-point line, 85% from the free throw line. In a win against West Virginia, he had 15 points, 12 rebounds, and 7 assists, so a near triple-double. Mountaineer fans will be familiar with him, obviously. Smalls now rejoins Nelson Hernandez, who came over from Oklahoma State to join DeVries' staff as Director of Player Personnel and Recruiting, as I stated there earlier. He previously was at East Carolina before being at Oklahoma State. This will be his final year of eligibility remaining. So we can add him to the roster, and then we also can add Eduardo Andre, and West Virginia has actually announced the signing of him. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up that official announcement, the press release from the university. I believe that was yesterday or day before, if I'm not mistaken. They actually have already announced his signing. You see here, coming from WVUsports.com, Eduardo Andre. DeVries announces the signing there from Brian Messerly a couple days ago, May 3rd. West Virginia men's basketball coach Darren DeVries has announced the signing of Eduardo Andre to a grant and aid for the 6'11", 250-pound center from London, England, who played the past 2 seasons at Fresno State after playing his first 2 at Nebraska. So it'll be his 5th year here at WVU. Nearly a 7-footer, be a good big man to have in the inside. We know Coach DeVries likes to play that 5 out, but kind of have that one big guy in the middle there. Seems like he's a good candidate to be that big man in the middle there. First career, he's played in nearly 100 games with 33 starts, scoring 533 points, grabbing 409 rebounds, blocked 86 shots, and has 65 steals, over 60% field goal percentage for his career. Here's Coach DeVries' thoughts. Eduardo is a big addition to our program. He will give us terrific rim protection on the defensive end. Offensively, he will bolster our front court. He really runs well and will fit in great with our transition game, which we know Coach DeVries trying to turn up that tempo, play a little bit faster pace on offense this season. This past season, Andre played in 20 games starting in 18 before he had a leg injury that kept him out the rest of the season. Averaged 7 and 5 prior to that. Season high 17 points against Fresno Pacific and 16 points against Idaho State. 10 rebounds in games against Portland State and Pacific, and he had 4 blocks against San Diego and 3 steals against James Madison. So a good addition here for the Mountaineers. For his final year, Eduardo Andre will play as well. So let me pull up the transfer portal tracker here, trying to keep track with West Virginia as they build this roster throughout the all season. But we can now add both of these gentlemen to the transfers in list, joining Tucker DeVries, Sincere Harris, Amani Hansberry, and Toby Oconee. Of course, we have the point guard Javon Small, who was the nation's top transfer point guard. Let's not forget that. No small feat there for West Virginia to pick him up, coming over from Oklahoma State. And, of course, Eduardo Andre coming over from Fresno State, the big man we just talked about there a little bit. I think both will be good additions for this team. Now, how many of these players that West Virginia's brought in will be starters? I'd say, close to half probably. Definitely the two that are locked in for sure, Tucker DeVries, Javon Small, maybe even Toby Oconee. I think he's going to be great on the defensive end for the Mountaineers. So is Sincere Harris. Between Harris and Oconee, you have two really strong defenders. Brought in a couple of guys that can help the front court in Hansberry and Andre. Andre more of, traditional under the basket player. Hansberry more of a shooter, can span his game out to the 3-point line so he could be a 4-man. We'll see what happens, but definitely good additions thus far for West Virginia. But how about some people that West Virginia is still targeting in the portal as well? That's the other thing that I wanted to talk about here. I know you guys probably knew about these additions, but we know West Virginia is obviously not done. They're not going to play with, that few players there. So we know a couple of days ago, WVSN and Ethan Bach put this out. West Virginia contacting 2 more guards in the transfer portal, those being Jordan Ivy Curry and Lukai Patterson at Charlotte. Ivy Curry, 6'2", reopened his recruitment after previously committing to Virginia Tech. At UTSA, he averaged 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. He scored 38 points in one game and 33 points in another. That's coming off the bench. We're talking about a 40% shooter from 3-point line. Another 1 year of eligibility remaining guy would be a great addition as West Virginia looks to add some guards here to this roster. Patterson, another guard, played his last 2 seasons at Charlotte. He averaged 15 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. So interesting. We know the football team just picked up Dantes Fagan from Charlotte. Could that, help lure Patterson here as well? Do they know each other? Who knows? It could, you never know. You got to always try and look for these connections sometimes. All ACC second team, 44% from the field, 35% from 3. So similar numbers to Ivy Curry as well. And then let's look at one more thing here from WVSN. They've done a great job keeping track of this. Ethan Bach over there. Their transfer portal guides, really good thing to follow. You can find that on their page there. Of course, they've got all the commitments listed similar to I do in our transfer portal tracker there. If you want to see, all the numbers of the commits there, you see a lot of good scoring from Tucker DeVries and Javon Small. Harris and Oconee going to be defense, but Oconee can score the ball and rebound as well. Hansberry didn't play a ton, only played in 19 games. And Andre is going to be, the man in the middle there. But when we look at the visits, nobody's scheduled for a visit yet, but I do believe that's about to change. I'll talk about that prospect momentarily, but it's not a transfer. Actually, it's a high school recruit, so that's why he's not listed here on this transfer portal guide for the WVSN. But players that West Virginia has contacted, most of these I've talked about in our previous update, but we just mentioned Jordan Ivy Curry and Lukai Patterson, but they've also targeted Cliff Davis from Northwestern State, Ken Evans from Jackson State, Carlton Lingard from UTSA, Shaquille Moore from Mississippi State, TJ Power from Puke, Jalen Spear from Florida A&M, Davion Smith from Utah, Kai Tandy from Jacksonville State, Glenn Taylor from St. John's. I looked and tried to see if Kai Tandy was related to Keith Tandy. I couldn't find it, but if so, that's another possible connection. Former Mountaineer defensive back, same surname, but who knows if they're actually related. Lucas Taylor from Georgia State and Sadora Traore from Manhattan. And then, of course, we know all the players that have left. Only one remaining is Ofri Naveh. But there is a bit of piece of news. I think the Hoops from the Hills guys did a video talking about this last night. See you in here, Tosh Miller. How many years of eligibility does Small have left? I believe it's 1, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see if I can pull that article back up and make sure of that. But I'm 90% sure it's 1. When I had that article up there is what it said. See if I can just pull it up in the history. Probably be easier here. Here we are. Let's see. Appreciate you tuning in and chiming in there, Tosh Miller. Anybody else got any questions, comments, concerns? Throw them in there. I'll try and wrap this up in the next 10, 15 minutes or so if possible. So anything you got, throw it in there. I'll try and hit on some of your all's comments as well. Let me pull this article back up. I believe it's 1 year of eligibility remaining, but wanting to make sure that that's correct here. Yes, sir. Small has 1 year of eligibility remaining. Tosh, appreciate the question. Thought that's what it said, but wanted to be 100%. So Javon Small with 1 year of eligibility remaining. Eric Andre. That's a comedian, pretty funny comedian. But Eduardo Andre coming over with 1 year of eligibility remaining as well. But also, you guys may have seen the Hoops from the Hills guys talking about this last night, kind of something that's more breaking. I think the first person I saw put this out was Voice of Morgantown personally on social media. But you see Jonathan Powell, he was a big 4-star recruit, a combo guard, 6'6" guy, had committed to Xavier, had a national letter of intent, actually got his release from it. And this is actually his Twitter page I'm sharing on the screen, guys. He retweeted the stuff about him decommitting from Xavier, being released from his national letter of intent, his NLI. That always gets confusing, NIL and NLI. But NLI is National Letter of Intent that recruits sign. And then you've seen here Voice of Morgantown putting this out and Jonathan Powell retweeting it. 4-star guard Jonathan Powell is visiting WVU tomorrow. So today, actually, Jonathan Powell is going to be on a visit. So hopefully, fingers crossed, guys, we could hear good news about another commitment today for WVU, and it would be a big one coming from the high school ranks, actually, in Jonathan Powell, previously committed to Xavier. 6'6" guard from Dayton, as you see here from Voice of Morgantown, averaged 19.3 points, 4.6 rebounds last season, and was the Ohio High School Player of the Year. He also retweeted their article, and he retweeted the Hoops from the Hills Hoops from the Hills video when they were talking about last night on their live stream, the Xavier decommit, Jonathan Powell. So we've got him scheduled to visit WVU, and if you guys want to give him a follow on social media, it's right there at Jonathan P0Well1. And hopefully the Mountaineers can maybe get him to commit today. If he's coming to WVU, that's a good sign for us, and who knows what can happen, but maybe good news in the future on that. Highly sought after commit. Let me see if I can pull up actually his recruit page so you guys can see that as well and see kind of his ratings if I can here. All right. This is the ESPN for Jonathan Powell. As you can see, 81 grade, rated as the 35th best guard in the country, number 6 player in the entire state of Ohio, number 22 player in the region, 4-star. Listed at 6'4", but from what I understand, he's now at 6'6". I mean, obviously he's still growing coming out of high school. Previously, like I said, signed to Xavier, but that's now opened back up after a few days ago. He had, like I said, this hasn't been updated since April 29th. It says there on the ESPN, but that's his ESPN profile there. Let's see if we can pull up his 247 Sports, see if they have a similar high regard for him as well. Here we are. His profile on 247. Like I said, this young man, Jonathan Powell, is visiting WVU today. 88 247 sports rating, 94 composite rating with the 4-star there. Top 25 shooting guard in the country, top 5 player in the state of Ohio there as well. You see, nice offer list. The Mountaineers now involved, and he's visiting Morgantown. So certainly someone to keep an eye on is Jonathan Powell. So that's what I wanted to talk about in regards of roster movement. For sure. Like I said, encourage you guys one more time. Throw any questions, comments, concerns you got in the chat there. I'll touch on those one more time. That's the piece of, transfer news I want to talk about, mainly kind of the impetus for this live stream, this CRW Hoops Edition May 5th portal update. And I wanted to talk about Jonathan Powell as well coming on a visit. But there was a couple other pieces of news that I want to talk about as well. WVU basketball related. Anything you guys got or any questions you got, throw them in the chat there. I'll touch on those here before I close up after I touch on these last 2 pieces of news that I have. One of those being, this was pretty cool. Hopefully you guys got a chance to see this. I believe this was around the spring game as well. WVU alumni welcoming Darren DeVries with a supporting message. I know on the Final Forecast, John Flowers talked about this on the podcast that him and Kevin Jones do. And they really wanted to craft up a message letting Darren DeVries know what WVU sports and specifically WVU basketball in this case means to the people of West Virginia, to the West Virginia fans. And they really crafted a nice message that a lot of the alumni signed as well, and they presented it to him. But let me read it here for you. This was the message. On behalf of the West Virginia University Basketball Alumni Brotherhood, we want to just say congratulations on becoming the head coach of WVU and welcome to Morgantown. Morgantown and West Virginia are very special places. There are no pro teams in the state, so WVU athletics means a lot to the people here. As you may have seen from your welcome, West Virginia is full of good-hearted, hard-working, blue-collar people. That is what the state is all about. Over the years, we have made an intentional effort to grow a strong alumni connection and form a brotherhood between WVU alumni basketball players from across the years. It started with Coach Bob Huggins building the alumni locker for former players that are still actively playing professionally, and there are over 20-plus alumni players still playing. There aren't many universities where a recruit can walk in and get the chance to see former players still welcome back to use the facilities, and we are proud of that. We wanted to say that we are happy and we appreciate you carrying on that tradition. With that being said, we as alumni are excited for the new chapter of WVU basketball, and we're sure the team that you produce on the court will reflect everything that was made West Virginia University basketball so special. And this is a list of people that really signed on to that message right there at the bottom. So pretty impressive list. Devin Ebanks, Joe Mazzulla, Cam Thurman, Johnny West, Rob Summers, Frank Young, Darius Nichols, Truck Bryant, Jay Sean Page, Eric Stevenson, Javon Carter, Deuce McBride, Joe Alexander, Jamie Small again, Tavon Myers, Tariq Phillip, Nate Adrian, Essa Ahmad, Gary Brown, James Long, Chase Harler, Gabe Osaboyan, Daxter Miles Jr., Logan Rout, Mike Gansey, Daryl Prue, Herbie Brooks, Brent Solheim, Jared West, Casey Mitchell, Cam Payne, Wellington Smith, Dennis Kalichula, Dalton Pepper, Kevin Jones, Dom Rutledge, Tyrone Sally, Spencer Mackey, Emmett Matthews, Marcus Goree, Josh Yeager, John Holton, Devin Williams, Brandon Watkins, Elijah Macon, Mo Robinson, Tony Robertson, Ernie Hall, Sid Bostic, Dennis Hosey, Dana Perno, Will Robinson, John Goots, Dave McCardell, Lowe's Moore, Dave Alara, Junius Lewis, Larry Woods, Warren Baker, Jess Hudson, Greg Nance, Donnie Gibson, Eartha Foss, Greg Jones, and Andrew Soreen. Whew, what a list, guys. Some legends. And, man, that's a long list there, guys. But pretty awesome stuff for the alumni to do for Coach DeVries. And I think they're doing a good job of kind of letting him know what WVU means to the people of West Virginia, and that's pretty awesome to see. And I think he's someone that's really going to embrace that and seems to fit with us, kind of similar to Coach Brown on the football side. Not a guy that's from West Virginia, but being from Iowa, kind of some similar things going on there. We've talked about the similarities to us and Iowa State in the past, much like, Neil Brown being from Kentucky. We know how similar West Virginia and Kentucky are. So I think Darren DeVries is going to fit right in, and I love that he's acclimating to that culture well. But having said that, the last piece of news that's come out on the basketball side thus far, hopefully we'll have some more news coming out in the near future. Like I said, Jonathan Powell visiting today, fingers crossed for good news there. But the Big 12 Big East battle was announced, and West Virginia will play Georgetown Friday, December 6th in the WVU Coliseum. That will be their opponent in the Big 12 Big East battle. This announced a couple weeks ago by the conference. So those will be the matchups there. If you want to see some of the others, December 3rd, Cincy and Villanova, BYU and Providence. December 4th, you get Baylor and Connecticut. That'll be a fun one. Kansas and Creighton should be a good one. DePaul and Texas Tech, Marquette and Iowa State. And then December 6th, of course, Georgetown Hoyas at the West Virginia Mountaineers. Xavier at TCU. December 7th, you get Kansas State at St. John's, then Butler at Houston, and then wrapping it up December 8th with Oklahoma State at Seton Hall. Big East Big 12 battle. That's the last piece of news that I had. So going to get ready to wrap this thing up, guys. Just wanted to talk about the big and small additions there. Pun intended on that one, because definitely adding a point guard and a big man, Eduardo Andre being the big, and Javon Small being the point guard that West Virginia added, the nation's top transfer point guard. Huge addition. And like I said, Jonathan Powell visiting WVU today. So fingers crossed we'll get good news on that front. If he commits, I'll be coming with another WVU basketball update in the near future. But there will be plenty of those coming as West Virginia continues to build this roster throughout the offseason. And if you got to remind you guys, if you're a fan of West Virginia hoops or West Virginia football, be sure to subscribe here to the CRW. Talking a ton of it here throughout the offseason of both sports, leading into the 2024, which should be a successful season for both programs, I'm hoping. So we're talking, roster building in both sports. We're talking coaching staff building here on the basketball side, always talking recruiting, always doing transfer portal updates, and a ton of live streams like these where you can come in and share your thoughts as well. So if you're a WVU fan, definitely be sure to subscribe here to the Country Roads webcast. That helps us out. And another way you can help out is just by clicking that little thumbs up button, giving us a like on this video, whether you're watching this live or you're watching this after the fact on a playback. It really helps a ton with the YouTube algorithm. If you didn't get a chance to chime in with your thoughts live, share them in the comments there. Always appreciate those interactions as well. But hopefully good news coming for the Mountaineer basketball program that follows this great news of adding Javon Small and Eduardo Andre. We've got Jonathan Powell coming in on a visit and those other transfers that West Virginia is targeting. So there will be plenty of transfer portal updates coming for Mountaineer hoops. Be on the lookout for those here on the CRW, and look forward to future live streams to chat with you guys again. Having said that, as always, I'm Jordan Cruz, and until next time, let's go Mountaineers.